So this will start to record. Now, I'm going to, as I promised in my email yesterday, I was going to do two things. First of all, give you a brief overview of the course, and then I was also going to walk you through the assignment that's due. So I'll do this today, and then maybe later today, or at least Wednesday. But everybody will have time to upload the file that is going to be due on the 8th. I wanted to just go over again. If you go into the website, the Canvas room, what you're going to see is that what you're going to see is basically three pretty distinct sections. Let's call it four. First, you're going to see an area up here that has some community resources, like some links where I put announcements where you can introduce each other, get to know each other. If you have questions about the course, you can post those. Then I have a section called the OBU and Professional Resources. This is the OBU online library, the online writing lab that's over at the university, at Purdue University, which will help you a lot. Those, I know, as you write your papers, you have to be conforming to APA and so forth. And now I also want to mention, you're going to see some things on here that you won't see on your screen. That's because I'm not in student view, I'm in instructor view, okay? Here's a syllabus attachment that tells you about some university policies. And then I have some resources here, like Harvard Business School online, MIT School, a link to the CBFA, the Christian Business Faculty Association, and also some other then course resources and policies, code, ethics, an intro, and a summary of the course. Here's a repository where I have a lot of materials that we'll be using as we go through the program, through this course, and some information about the class format, the fact that it is hybrid. So some people are attending at the class ground-based. Other people are attending the class on a virtual basis, remote. I want to talk about this for a moment, the in-class workshops, and I've got it up there. Obviously, you can read faster than I can talk, but you want to notice that you're going to see several of these where I ask you to upload a file, okay? And those are workshops that we'll be doing, okay? And what I typically will do is I'll go through the workshop and then say, okay, here's when it's due, and you need to upload it. This week, for example, we have a workshop that we're going to do, and it's due on the 8th. So I'll show you, and that's just all the part. That's just how I'm doing it. Because basically what I'm doing is I'm taking some finished products and saying, how did we get this done? It allows me also to keep you from having to spend a bunch of time inputting data. It also allows me to show you some elements about IT that are important. So I'm going to go back to the home here, of course, to navigate around. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to go into settings, and I'm going to change those so I have just a complete student view, the same view that you get. Now you'll notice over here, and before we go any further, if you look to the left, you're going to see places that will let you navigate around the page. For example, people, during the course, all the roles that they have, any announcements that have been made. There you'll see the one I made the video conference for yesterday. Grades, pages, or any pages that are resources out there, those are all there. Files. And the syllabus, this is what they call the syllabus. And this just shows you really what this shows you, this the things that are due. And then any quizzes that you have, those are all listed here. These are from the Perelson book. There are 3 books for the course. The Perelson book And it's called Managing and Using Information Systems, a Strategic Approach. You'll find the titles, all these titles, ISBNs, are all in the syllabus. And I know all of you received a syllabus that was a little outdated, so I had to load one. The most current syllabus is the one that's over here in Canvas. But regardless, the syllabus lists the 3 textbooks: the Perelson and Saunders textbook. That's what I'm talking about, Perelson. And then the Minnelli book on big data, and then the Big Green book, Lisa Miller, the MIS cases. Then you're going to see the modules, and that shows you how the course is organized. The course is really organized on topical basis and material basis, and then moves into the weeks. So this week is week 1, and it shows you what's due and what's going to be covered. I also provide some resources. They give you an opportunity to study and learn about why IT is important, the resources are expended on it, etc. Okay. Now, that's pretty much it as far as the materials, and I'm going to go back to home now. And in introducing the course, I always, and I did this last night, but I'll do it again just since we're recording. And we'll take a look here for just a moment. I want to find this. That kind of gives you an introduction. I'm looking for that resource now. Here it is, the course intro. Now this is a PowerPoint, and this is a good opportunity for me to mention that sometimes, almost all the time, it's better just to download a file to your computer. Now in this case, it's not that big of a deal. It renders this pretty well. I'm going to take this up to full screen size so you can see. And I'll move this. It's important, I think, to understand what IT is not. And so here's just a quick overview of what's in this PowerPoint. IT versus computer science. Computer science this is not a course in computer science. Computer science is software centric, and it focuses on algorithms, data structures, design patterns, low and high level languages, software architectures, and in other words, it's software centric. It's not a course. This is not a course in computer engineering. Computer engineering deals with the physicality of computers, the physical aspects, and thus it's hardware centric. This is not a course in computer engineering. Instead, it's a course on this IT is decision centric. All forms of technology, primarily digital technology, that are used to store, create, exchange, and use information. It's right there for you to see. So it's decision centric, which means the whole focus of IT is to help companies make better decisions, okay? And if you go back and you look at the Perelson textbook, that's the smallest one, the kind of a maroon cover, Managing Using Systems. You'll notice there's a subtitle, A Strategic Approach. And as you read the Perelson text, you're going to see over and over again how the focus is on company strategy. How does IT support company strategy? Now, I also mentioned the knowledge hierarchy, and this is data versus information and information versus knowledge. Data is really nothing more than just simple bits and bytes. Information is data I can use for decision making. Knowledge is information that's replicable. In other words, I can use it over and over. And it's data with a purpose. Facts that can be analyzed and have a standard meaning. I talked also about the transformative nature. Here is Turner Classic Movies. They utilize a business model that's straight out of IT, of storage and exchange. And so they store old movies, they broadcast them, they also stream them. But this is the whole idea. They have these movies, they have this set of data that they go in and they pull out and present for the public. But it's a storage and exchange system. Facebook is another creation and storage system, but in this case, Facebook, which is essentially a database, you're the one who fills out the information for them. And everything about your product. eBay is another example of how IT is transformative. eBay is an auction site, and with IT, you're able to run an auction for anyone in the world who can access eBay and wants to plunk down their money for a product, or for anybody who wants to offer a product. So this has changed everything in terms of how we view exchanges. A good example is Bitcoin, which is the use of digital technology as a pure financial intermediary, a currency. YouTube is another creation system that allows you to create videos and put them up there. And IT is also about creating things as necessary for a company. And so YouTube is a good example of people just creating files and finding things they want to post and posting them. So it's a creation system. Now, those old business models have been blown to bits, and here are some things that IT does. You can read them faster than I can say them to you. I think, as I mentioned last night to me, this is the one that is probably the most important because it allows companies to compete on a global scale where they could not compete in that manner before. It's scalable. You can, for example, the easiest example is Amazon, who is basically a retailer and retails to the whole world. They use technology that's scalable. And talk about 4 tools that have changed IT. Spreadsheets increase our capacity to envision alternative futures. And I mentioned last night that I've worked in mergers and acquisitions, and that once we got spreadsheets, we could run simulations of the outcome of those mergers 500, 1,000, 5,000 times. Excel has functions in it that allows you to create random trials and to see results, so that your understanding of the impact of your decisions changes from more of a kind of a black and white or binary to one that's more of a continuum. Now, databases, we talked about those, increase our ability to turn data into knowledge simply because we can store data in tables, and then we can link those tables and we can start to put variables together, what we call attributes. We can look at somebody who made a purchase at 2 p.m. in Seattle. Who were they? Where exactly in Seattle do they live? Have they bought that before, etc. ad infinitum. That's really the role of a database. Business intelligence tools like dashboards. Many of you probably operate those or have a dashboard at your company. And this is you log into the company and they give you what we call key performance indicators, maybe for your department, maybe for your division, who knows. And then networks that create synergistic value. Every time somebody joins the network becomes larger, the network becomes more valuable. And the best example of this is Twitter, and Facebook as well, where the more people who are members, the more lucrative it is because you got more people to advertise to. Okay, so we're seeing, and also these networks enable companies and their vendors, for example, to manage supply chain. So it's very, very transformative. That's just a quick review, okay? And then if you had any questions, I had that available for you. So let me size this back down, okay? And we'll go back up here to home. So that gives you just an overview of the course and helps you understand some of what IT is not. Now, I have some information here about the summary, the course repository, the format, in-class workshops. We've talked about that. And workshop reading materials. This is a list when we do some of these case studies like we'll look at. I'm going to do another video for the case study that's due on the 8th. It's due Thursday. You're going to see that we have cases that are due on Thursday. This is so we have time to work on them. Okay, and then if something goes wrong, especially for you who are remote, like something did go wrong last night, I can go ahead and do a video, show you, you can upload the file and get the credit. The whole point of the workshops is you attend them and try to work through. Here's posting of grades, case quizzes, case follow-ups. You're going to see some assignments that are called case follow-ups. I have it all laid out here for you, what I'm after. So no big mystery there. I have some other resources here, and we'll talk about these when we get into databases, like the analytical cube, entity relationship models, data visualization, entity relationship, an example of a data warehouse, and there's like a file that we'll be using. And then there's some other files that are resources. And then the course schedule and the point distribution. Here's the syllabus. You can notice it's been revised. And I'll take this up to a full screen so you can see it. It's got all the information about reaching me and the required materials. And some information about computing skills and the course schedule. Policies and procedures, participation, some information about that. General format, writing standards. In the event I ask you to create a big major paper. Class format, I'll talk about that. The exams, case quizzes, case follow-ups. Again, I chunked a little bit of this out here. Then there's a group software project that's going to come up at the end. I've got the directions here for that. And I'm going to ask you to assemble, or I will assign you teams and have you do the little group software project. Not a big deal. And there's the point distribution and the letter grades. And then some biographical information about myself. Again, all there, you can read it faster than I can tell you about it. Okay, so we're in week 1, and as you can see, we've talked a little about the course logistics in the intro. This is what's due for week 1. It's due on June the 8th. It's 25 points. I also want to mention, I have some things here like this Gartner Worldwide IT Spending and Measuring Benefits of Tech Tools. I would encourage you to take a look at those, and also this, what is a business model, because these resources help put into, and the business models, information tech, and the company of the future, these let you put in, these are additional resources that help you put this week's topic or general topic into perspective. Now, I mentioned before, I will again, this course it's an introduction to information technology. I know I have some of you who maybe have programming skills, others who barely can open a file. So I try to walk a middle road. So I may frustrate everybody, but that's just the nature of the way that folks come into the course, because we don't give you any required courses to take this before. We don't make you take an IT prep course or something like that. But the theme for this first week really is IT's role in a company. IT is a function, okay? And how does it augment, how does it enhance a company's ability to meet its strategic, to performance strategy, excuse me. And so, and how much do we spend on it? And does it contribute? I have one very interesting resource here that says that IT, this deals with the solo growth model. We'll go over there. And he says basically the solo growth model shows how economic growth is driven by IT and some of our assumptions about it. So I would encourage you to take a look at that. Okay, and we'll go back over to the home. And this first week, we also have, this is some information on spending. On IT, we spend a lot of money on it. So the notion of is it useful or not, or are we getting the benefit or not, is always a topic that's of great importance and is there. Then what is the business model? And again, these help put into perspective why IT is an important company function, why information resources, other than people, the most important resource a company has is information. Well, that's pretty much in terms of the intro to the course. You could see week by week. Then on the 12th, you have an exam that's due. And let me say this again. The exams in this course are open book, open note. You can do them up to the point where they're due, and then the exam closes. So you can work ahead if you want to. You can work at your own pace. Then, as you can see, next week, the 12th, you'll have an assignment that will be due the 15th of June, which is a week from this coming Thursday, and we'll still be doing some work on this on the spreadsheet tutorial from Miller. So we'll just kind of work through a case and then some other newer aspects of it as we move along. And bear with me because we may have to switch gears a little bit as we go, depending on how fast we can move. And you can see again, I've got some information here. And next week, we'll be looking at taking data and transforming it, and we'll also be talking about using information, okay, and how we display it and present it. And we'll see. So there's a resource here from Edward Tufte, who's kind of the father of visualization. Here's an article about Anscombe, his note of how we can take 4 sets of data and graph, and when you graph them, they look very, very different, but although they're identical. And then and then I have a link there about John Snow, who was really the first person to do data visualization, the cholera epidemic. So that'll give you an idea of what's going on in week 2, then week 3. We have a workshop continued. There are some exams and quizzes again. And I have, again, some more resources that relate to that week. Same story for weeks 4 and 5. And then as we move into week 6, and then on week 7, you have the group software project. And you'll need to go into the syllabus and take a look at it and look at the steps that are required. And then there's to upload an Access file, Excel file, and a Word file. I'm going to ask you to select teams and identify what team you want to be with. Yes, some quizzes that are due, exam. And this is a plenary session. And what I mean is week 7, I want everybody either online to join the meeting or they're in Oklahoma City with us. And then week 8, we finish out with, I think, something kind of interesting, a business movies exercise, where I have you go out and identify some movies that you think about business that you think are important movies that speak some or dramatize some key aspects about business that we need to understand. I'll be looking forward to that. And that will give you an opportunity to interact. Hopefully I'll have everybody here and we can manage that process. That last week will really be purely discussion. And I can't emphasize enough, you really need to be here, okay? If you want the participation points, okay, you'll need to be here because there are 25 points connected to participation, and that is dealing with the plenary sessions. All righty. And I'm going to leave the student view, go back to my view. And I'm going to stop the sharing.